So we're coming to the end of the axial skeleton, and we're going to finish it off with the thorax, the thoracic cavity, and the varying bones that play a role in protecting and being a part of that region. First off, let's go ahead and talk about the 12 ribs. Ribs, I'm assuming most of you all remember what ribs are. They're the things that if you feel your thoracic cavity, you can feel them. They're there. They're nice, strong support. Up in front, they are connected via cartilage up to the sternum, which is indeed a flat bone. We'll get into more detail about the sternum here in a little while. But first, let's discuss the different things about the ribs. First off, there are two different types of ribs that they've decided to name. They're called true ribs and false ribs. True ribs, there's a total of 7 true ribs and 5 false ribs. And among those 5 false ribs, 2 of which are floating. Now let's go ahead and pull apart what that actually means. So true ribs, what they're referring to is, do they have a direct line or connection to the sternum? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 definitely have that nice strong connection to that sternum. 6 and 7 also do. You can kind of see that 6 is semi-separated there. 7 has that nice strong pronunciation there too. So yes, definitely, these 7 definitely are considered true ribs. They have that cartilaginous base that's connecting to it. By the way, this cartilage is made of hyaline. 8, 9, and 10, you can see sort of piggyback on each other, and 8 finally piggybacking onto 7 to try and hold on to it. So they're not true ribs in the sense that they have cartilage directly connecting to it. The other 2 false ribs you can see don't have cartilage at all making it to that sternum, hence they are called floating ribs. And they're there mostly to do a little bit of protection for your spleen, your liver, and things, and your kidneys, things like that. If we take a look at the back side, or our posterior portion, you will see, here's what we usually are looking at. You can see that that rib inserts into or onto that body of the vertebral body, with a portion of it with its head, the head of that rib. You can see that it's going on right here, and that articular facet interacting with that portion, that facet of the tubercle for that from the vertebrae for that rib, giving it that nice excellent support, because obviously there is some strong tissues holding onto it so it doesn't just wiggle out and be free. Connecting the ribs to this sternum is that cartilage, and that sternum is there to help again keep those ribs in its shape and in its proper place. If you've ever seen a rib cage get cracked open, those ribs tend to spring open pretty much. So let's go ahead and discuss the sternum, and that will be our ending point for the axial skeleton. Tippy top of the sternum is called the manubrium. You'll see that there are a couple of notches. There's the clavicular notch. If you feel up on the tippy top, you can actually feel at the top of your sternum, you'll see that a suprasternal notch, or feel that suprasternal notch, and off to the side of that, there's your suprasternal notch right here. Off to the sides, you're going to feel your clavicles. Those are the long bones that connect to your arm bones and are considered a part of your appendicular skeleton, so we're going to forego going too much into detail about that. But that's the reason why it's called the clavicular notch. The manubrium is this top portion. If we scroll on down, we got a sternal angle. That is indeed an important part. And then finally we got ourselves a body, and about at the very bottom, at the very bottom we got ourselves a xiphoid process. I'm going to scroll back up to this picture really quick right here to help discuss a little bit about chest compressions and all that. The heart is right about there. If you push down here a little too far down, there's a reason why you're supposed to put your wrist right smack dab or pretty darn close in that middle of that sternum, is so that all that pressure actually goes onto your heart. If you try pushing up here, you're going to be fighting against clavicle, as well as you're going to be pushing on those upper vessels, which aren't going to be very helpful. for doing that. If you push too far down, you're not going to get enough pressure on those ventricles, as well as the xiphoid process is going to be cutting up tissue. So do be careful. With that, that is the end of our discussion. Enjoy yourselves, and I will see you next time.